Good. Shabbir, welcome. Students, great to see everybody.
Yeah,
So I know,
just one
Shabbir,
minute.
we want to do a few things for the batch closure or batch start, and then dive into the topic for today.
Right, right. Um,
Yeah, let's do that. And then,
Rakesh is here, correct. Are we audible to you, Rakesh? Are we streaming fine? Okay. Rakesh says yes. Good and nice. Hemant has joined us. Sanjay Shri Khote has joined us. Hi. Okay. Rakesh says yes. Good and nice.
Shabbir, you can hear me okay, right? I just want a confirmation.
Hemant has joined us. Sanjay Shri Khote has joined us. Why is it repeating? Hi. I think the speakers are interfering. Is it okay now? Yeah, all of you, good evening. Hemant, Sanjashri, Alpha Zero, Sundaram Sharan, Kaushik, Batula, Debarga, Anamika, Prince, Anand Darshan. Yeah, happy to have you all on board. Hi, Anand. Oh, you are a student in Vajiram and Ravi. That's nice. Catching up. That's nice. Good evening, Rakesh. Good evening. Yeah, we had just a few, uh, moments of interference when we started off. Dave was here. I think he got logged out. He will join back again. He'll join back again. So, Rakesh, before we start off, can you tell us what is your experience, and you have any doubts you want to clarify? Feel free to ask. Hi, Tabash. Good evening. Rakesh, you want to clarify some, because this is your closing session. My experience, you're happy to be here. Okay. So you want us to clarify something about the course. So basically, guys, we have a proper course running. Okay, it's a paid program, and we have these live sessions. We discuss books, essays, evaluation. We mix it all up. So we have certain enrolled students with us. We're trying to address them first. Again, then we'll get back and answer your queries also. Meanwhile, Rakesh, you want to ask something? You want to clarify something? You joined the course?
Okay.
Yes, of course you did. Hi, Dave. I realized you got locked out.
Yeah, Shabbir, can you hear me okay now?
Yeah. Some
Okay.
initial interference, but I think it's fine now.
Okay,
I was just
perfect.
asking students if they have any queries, and more important, Rakesh, it's his course closure. So I wanted to ask if he has any queries to clarify, or if he has some doubts he wants us to address. We just started off on that note.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
Rakesh, shoot. Yeah, shoot if you have anything to ask, clarify. Did you understand the process of essays writing, Rakesh? How you decode a topic, how you develop the arguments, how you develop your, you know, storyboarding or the canvas that we talk about. Uh, so something we maintain is essentially essay writing has no formula. Formula works for those who know who don't have experience writing and they want some shortcut there. But if you can interpret a topic, enrich the topic with your examples, if you can go deep into arguments, into insights, beyond the obvious, that fetches you marks. Okay, you understand the video sequence. Okay, that's excellent. And Rakesh, I suggest, I think you'll have access to videos for some time more. Do watch the videos repeatedly. Okay, we have taken care to demonstrate how introductions can be written. We have demonstrated how to build arguments. So bar dekhna. Okay, and if you have done the range of topics we have illustrated or demonstrated, I don't think you should have problem. 125, 130 is very much attainable if you just follow the basics, okay, that we have taught you. Okay, so in any case, if you have any doubts, do reach out. You have some words for him.
No, absolutely. I think binge watching is absolutely recommended. And do reach out to Shabbir and I. Both of us are available anytime at in Telegram, right? Reach out to us with questions, and we'll have these live sessions to help you along. And eventually, after you complete the course, don't worry if you can't complete it in 4 weeks. If sometimes take 5 to 6 weeks, which is totally fine. But definitely join the Telegram channel after you have done it if you haven't joined already, because that's where we practice, right? That's where we continue to hone our skills, sharpen our saw, as they say, and get ready for the exam. So that's what I would say, Rakesh. Yeah.
Sundaram Sharan says, I'm part of SCS course, but not yet started due to state PCS exam. Please guide how to proceed. Sundaram, don't rush through the essays work. You're part of course. We are there. You can reach out to us. The day you are through with your PCS examination, start watching the sessions. Okay, start viewing those videos, and generally it takes 2-3 rounds of viewing. Okay, whatever I could have taught you, whatever we could have told you, it's all there. Okay, so view them repeatedly so that you get a hang of what they're trying to teach you, and the exercises are there, tests are there. So there's no formula how to get started. You just start off. Once you are through with it, and go for binge watching also. If you find one day you can watch good 6, 7, 10 videos, do it and watch it again, watch it third time. But make sure while watching, you also note down something, some insights, some examples. Okay, Sundaram? Hemant, you're always welcome, and all others also. What you see, and all of you, whether you're part of the course or not, please do join us on Thursday evenings. Thursdays for essays at 6:30. Okay, and all the others, we have a proper course. Essays writing is not simply dumping examples and quotes and facts. Essays writing is the test of thinking, a test of critical analysis, a test of how you bring examples and integrate those as a part of the insights you want to share. Like, it takes time. Essays will take time. Okay, it's not a course where 1 month of class will help you. You have to live that process. It does take 4, 5, 6 months sometimes. So I'll recommend all of you who are preparing for 27, you should join the course as early as possible. It's a very affordable course. Okay, nugget courses hai as early, because you have time to think over, write, practice. Okay, so that's a suggestion. Okay, yeah, Sundaram, yes. Okay then, Deb.
And
I think
Shabbir, I was going to say that the course we designed it to be really affordable, and something that not only students can take, but how students continue to be with us working on their essays till the exam, right? It's not like a course you join us and you take the course and you go away, right? That's not what we believe in. We believe in continuing to help you throughout the journey, because as Shabbir you just said, I will reiterate that essays is not a skill you can get in 4 weeks or 6 weeks. It actually takes many months, and sometimes a large chunk of your personality development, your how you read. It's got so many other things that depend on how well you can write, and thinking better is not something you can do overnight. So um, yeah, so do the course, but stay with us. That is more important. Stay with us, with the Telegram channel, and ask your questions. We are always around.
Dave, one
So
common question I'm asked
yeah,
by students is, sir, what do we read? What are the reading we have to go through? What are the books? Prescribe some. I mean, they're looking for NCRT type of books. They're looking for some course material that they can go through. Okay, so guys, uh, for essays writing, okay, Deb and me decided that we should expose you to books beyond the regular NCRTs, books beyond the regular articles you read. Yeah, Deb, you can maybe share what we are going to do today.
yeah. In fact, today I shared in Telegram also. We are going to cover something that has direct association with your moral philosophical topics, which is really what UPSC essays are all about these days, and also significant, um, significant in terms of your ethics work. So we are going to cover Camus' The Stranger. The Stranger is something that talks about absurdism, which Camus was known for. But also there are elements of other philosophies, existentialism, and other things. So I think, Shabir, before we start, maybe a few words on Camus will help, right? Um, so let's get started, everybody. I'll share my screen in a little bit. We have the whole book, but obviously it is. It's a big book. Well, big not in terms of how big books are usually. It is, I think, 100 and some pages, and it's not that thick. But we obviously don't have time to read all the pages out there. We'll read some bookmarks and specific topics, but you'll get a sense of what the story is and what are the relevant points for UPSC essay writing. Okay, so that's what we'll focus on. So, a few words on Camus. He was a French Algerian, or and he spent a considerable time in Algeria. He was known as somebody who talked and expanded on the idea of absurdism. And there are many things, Shabir, you also talk about the myth of Sisyphus in a lot of your discussions. I have seen in essay classes, as well as in general um, advice to students. I think two or three of his works are extremely important. If you can read them, definitely do so. The Myth of Sisyphus is one. The Plague is another. Stranger is another. We're covering Stranger, but I think there are so many others of Camus' work, and he's an absolute treat. He's a good writer, and you will enjoy his stories, and you will walk away with something more than just the stories. You will walk away with a lot of fodder for your essay writing. Shabir, anything else that you want to add on Camus while we are there before I share and get into the book?
Yeah, not Camus actually. Basically, see, the lot of topics asked in UPSC, which are around life, which are about the importance of the journey of life, importance of doing the duty, importance of surviving the odds, the good and the bad. Okay, the whole idea of life is more than simply what we feel. Life is more than what we think or we interpret. Okay, concepts of what is fair, what is right, what is wrong, ethics में आता है. So ये जो philosophies हैं कि what is life, the purpose of life, Buddha's teachings about indifference to sufferings, Buddha's ideas about life ultimately, there's a truth to life. Okay, so all those ideas have been discussed by different philosophers. Camus is one of them. So what is life? A general consensus among many philosophers is my life is meaningless. Okay, so Camus is trying to explain life is meaningless through his concept of absurdism. Okay, and he did this through his stories. Okay, and he's a Nobel laureate. Okay, he is one of those modern thinkers. I think he wrote this book again, 1940s, I believe, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So his ideas of absurdism, okay, आपको समझना होगा. I mean, if you can read, very excellent. If not, at least go and look up. We write, spell his name as Camus, but we pronounce as Camus. It took me quite some time to discover it was Camus and not Camus. Okay, so look up who is Camus, who is what is his idea of absurdism. Okay, so yeah, Dave. So I wanted to link the book and the concept to the topics which have been asked. Okay, so yeah, please, we can get started now. How to start essays, Subhadra, how to start essays from basic. Stick with us, Subhadra, on these sessions. And more importantly, I'll suggest if you can join the course, please do that. Anand Darshan asks, what's the course fee? This time. I don't know what you mean by this time. I think it's what it's about. It's affordable, okay? Don't embarrass me by quoting the price here, but it's affordable and it's worth it. Can we see the book summary? Absolutely, Hemant. Absolutely. Make it a habit. If you can't read a book, read the book summary. Okay, even half a page. Go into Yuki and ask, okay, what is Albert Camus and what is absurdism? Ask Yuki to map the book to the topics. Yeah, excellent. Yeah. Deep, we can go on.
Yeah, I'll show you guys a little bit of the Yuki summary at the end too. But let's dive in. This is really good fun. It's going to be really interesting. So let me share my screen without further ado. I will share my iPad, so we can annotate as we go.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dev. I'm sorry. I thought you.
Go ahead.
Yes, Alpha, you can hear on Spotify, audiobook. But more important, I think, read about it. Okay. When you read, you think more. You can, have time to introspect more. Okay? And these are books that you can't digest in one reading. You need 3-4 listenings. So yeah, it'll help you. Deb, I can't see your screen yet.
Okay. Is it
now it's blurred. It's showing up.
Okay.
Yeah. I think something in the network probably. It's blurred, but okay. It shows now.
Is it better? Is it? Students, can you give me a okay? If you, Rakesh, can you see it? I can see it on my screen pretty clearly. So
yeah, it's good. It's good.
It's good. Okay.
Yeah.
So I made some notes, and Shabbir, as usual, I will invite you. As I'm speaking through, absolutely stop me if you want to, interject and make a point. I made a few, remarks here in terms of the overall themes, right? So one is clearly absurdism, and absurdism is something that Camus talked about. He posits that life is inherently meaningless, and we must confront this absurd way of life, right? Although I must say, Camus himself never liked the word existentialism in his life. Although most of his works can be considered existentialist, and we'll see a little bit of that today also. Then the subject of alienation is there. The lead character's name is Marceau, and because of this whole view that he has of the world, which is, and you'll see how that links with absurdism. He has an emotional detachment from society. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Then the third thing is, how does the society judge this absurdism? What is the society's expectations, and how does society judge a person like that? So if you say that I see life as inherently meaningless, and you do not get meaning from the same people that, or same things that people get meaning, how does society judge you? Then the concept of freedom and responsibility is something that comes up a lot of times throughout this novel. That when you look at life as inherently meaningless and absurd, that has a direct impact on your freedom and responsibility. It poses some restrictions, it lifts some restrictions on what you can or cannot do, and your ensuing responsibility. What do you feel responsible for? Responsibility as a concept has a lot to do with morality, right? So we feel responsible because we feel morally connected to something or the other. So that you will see. And finally, death and meaning. What is the meaning of life? What does death mean? And how this is all kind of fitting together. What's the universe all about? So those are the themes. If you look at it, absurdism, alienation, societal judgment, freedom, responsibility, and death and meaning. Okay, so that's my summary. Now let me just go
one point I want to make there.
Yeah.
See, I know some of you will be challenged how to use this in the essays. Okay, my suggestion is, please don't go down that route right now. पहले आप समझो ये चीज है क्या. जैसे कि एक एग्जांपल लेके चलो कि सोशल मीडिया impacts us, YouTube impacts us, our relatives impact us. तो ऐसा क्या लिखोगे where you can write about कि we must be more authentic? Okay, ऐसा क्या लिखोगे where you can talk in terms of philosophy, how social media should not impact us? Okay, so ये जो ideas है, take responsibility for climate change, take responsibility for civil rights, take responsibility for law and order. Okay, ये जो concepts है ना, taking responsibility, living life with a meaning, making sure that you live an authentic life without any pretensions. Okay, तो ये कुछ concepts हैं जो आप इस बुक से समझोगे. So इसको ऐसे में कैसे यूज करना है बाद में. Don't go down that hole right now. Okay, आप बस concept क्या है, कैमू क्या कहना चाहते हैं, आप उसका ध्यान रखो. Okay, then the things will evolve eventually. Yeah, there, please.
Yeah, exactly. And those 5 concepts I presented just a couple of seconds back. That's essentially what we'll come back to, right? And that is what you'll use in essays. But don't rush it, right? Now is the time to enjoy. We're reading a story, so follow along. So this story begins, I'm looking at the first page of the book. And the story begins by this sentence. Maman died today. Maman is basically mother. Okay. So he's talking about the fact that his mother died, and let's see how he talks about. I'll read a few words and then we'll discuss what it means. Maman died today or yesterday, maybe. I don't know. Okay, now think about what this means. Mother has died. Well, I don't know. Maybe it was yesterday. I don't know. I got a telegram from the home. Mother deceased, funeral tomorrow, faithfully yours. That does not mean anything. Maybe it was yesterday. Okay, so he got a telegram and his mother has died and he's trying to figure out today or yesterday. The old people's home is at Marengo, about 80 kilometers from Algiers. He's thinking about how distant it is. I'll take the 2 o'clock bus, he's planning, and get there in the afternoon. That way I can be there for the vigil and come back tomorrow night. What does this tell you? Okay, and I will invite questions from all the people that are online right now, that think about the impact of what he's just said. His mother is died. He doesn't know when. He's saying, okay, maybe this is about 80 kilometers. Will you think about how far your the service is, or when you will reach, when you will return, when your mother has died? This is something that is unheard of, right?
Absurd.
Absurd. Right. So now let's read on.
By the
It
way,
says,
guys, this is a very, very, yeah, sorry.
go ahead, Shabir.
I was just telling them, this is a very, very famous sentence. Very, very famous. Maman died today or yesterday, maybe. I don't know. I got a telegram from the house. Okay. That doesn't mean anything. Maybe it was yesterday. It's a very famous quote. Okay. A quote that tells, that sense of detachment, that sense of alienation, तो पता नहीं बोलूंगा कि नहीं, a sense of complete apathy. Okay, it's very abnormal, and society will not forgive you if you say mama died and maybe it was yesterday. It means nothing. Okay, so the books का ये जो पहला sentence है बहुत powerful sentence है, या बहुत जगह सुनोगे if you have if you spend time with it. Yeah, Dave, yeah, just driving it home. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he says, I asked my boss for 2 days off, and there was no way he was going to refuse me with an excuse like that. But he wasn't too happy about it. I even said, it's not my fault. It's not my fault that my mother is dead. That's what he's saying. He didn't say anything. Then I thought I shouldn't have said that. It doesn't sound good. I didn't have anything to apologize for. Right? So you can see that he is concerned about the small little details of what this incident has created for him, right? Every time something happens, it creates some other conditions because of that, right? So his mother is dead, and because of that, these things are emerging, right? He's late, or he has to plan, he has to talk to his boss, and he has to he didn't think he had to apologize, all of that. So he's discussing the things that have ensued from his mother's death, and so tactical, so commonplace, so trivial, you'd think, right? But he probably will, day after tomorrow, he'll realize that my mother is dead, so I'm in mourning, so he'll be fine. So this is what I call authenticity versus social expectation. See, all of us, जो हम लोग सुन रहे हैं यहाँ पे बैठ के, so we are a team here judging Camus' book together, right? What did we judge about him? Oh, he's a mindless guy, or he's a feelingless person, or doesn't have any morality, or doesn't even feel bad that his mother is dead. We are full of these things, right? That is nothing but our social expectations of him. But The question is he being authentic? Is he being honest about his feelings? Okay. So this is a question that when we say, oh, he is so honest, he's so authentic, are we morally ready to understand what that means? That if somebody is actually brutally honest about what they feel, then is the society ready for that? Okay. So authenticity versus.
Dave, I want to share one. It's an incident from my life, from my childhood. There's somebody we know, very
Yeah.
distant aunt types, and she was famous or infamous in her family, or she still is rather. Okay, about how she would put up acts. Every family has some person of that kind. If there was a death in the family, she would be howling the loudest. And interestingly, she will howl when people are looking at her. Moment you don't pay attention, she'll keep quiet and do her business. Okay, and we had noticed her when we were small. She would play these pranks. We noticed her that how aunt would slowly see into the mirror, okay, and how she looked. She would see if her eyes were disabled or not, or or mascara or kajal all over the place. Okay, so I always think about that. She used to put up an act of sorrow, of grief, just to ensure that people accepted her. But we all knew she was not authentic. Okay, so how many of us, I mean, she's one extreme example, but I'm sure all of us, including myself, we're all guilty of putting up acts sometimes, and we are not authentic about our acts. And this case is an extreme example of that absurd expectations that we have from people and emotions they expect from them. Like, I don't know, you guys, you can think about your own family. I'm sure there are some people, हर family में होता है, कोई चाचा होता है, कोई ताऊ होता है, who will suddenly on the day of marriage, they'll feel they are sick, गिर गए, howling, they want attention. so, so they, yeah, just
And
yeah,
there are so many of these characters and we judge them all the time, right? That is what Kemo is saying, that you judge them all the time. You say that, oh, ye kitna fake hai, right? We often use this expression, yo, how fake, they're just doing it for the act. But in reality, society is not ready for honesty, is what Kemu is trying to tell us. So Kaushik, definitely not sorrow, right? He is not drowned in sorrow and no time to feel it. That is not the point. And Hemant, yeah, this is why he was focused on giving a timetable, because he was honest about it. That is exactly what he felt, right? And he's like, okay, let me talk to my boss, let me figure out how to take 2 days off, and things like that. So let's keep going. I think I'll go to the next. So he reaches the place, okay? He reaches the place and he says, okay, I was tired. Caretaker took me to his room and I was able to clean up. I had some coffee and milk. And when I went outside, the sun was up. I saw the hills over there, so it was.
the screen is not scrolling. Are you scrolling? It's still at that page, authenticity versus social.
Um, okay, let me see. Yeah, it is scrolling, Shabir. I think it must be
Yeah,
YouTube versus Zoom. Yeah.
yeah.
So he's talking about the atmosphere at Marengo where he has gone. That he's seeing the he's smelling the coffee. He's seeing how it's going to be a beautiful day. Oh, I would enjoy going for a walk if it hadn't been for Maman. Okay, so my mother is dead, so I can't go for my walk, right? So, but okay, I'm in the courtyard and under a plane tree, and I breathe some of the more fresh earth. I thought about those things a little more, but I was distracted by the sound of a bell ringing inside. So it's almost like his honesty is childlike. Okay, so when I read this, Shabir, I thought it is like if you put a child if you put a 5-year-old there,
Yeah.
this is exactly how a 5-year-old will react. And these are exactly the same things the 5-year-old will say. So he's actually being very honest about what his feelings are. So let's keep going in the interest of time. The next chapter. So he's come back. He's obviously finished the funeral, and he's come back to his office. So he's saying, as I'm waking up, it came to me why my boss had seemed annoyed when I asked him for 2 days off. Today is Saturday, and I had sort of forgotten, but as I was getting up, it came to me. Okay, so he's forgotten. Oh, his boss, he asked for 2 days off. It's Saturday. So, in fact, boss would be thinking that I'll be getting totally 4 days. This is what we do, right? In corporate office, saying, okay, I'll take Friday off or, Thursday off and I'll get 4 days. So, he's thinking about those things. And he says that I would, if only they buried Maman yesterday instead of today, and second, I would have had Saturday and Sunday off anyway. So he's like, okay, if they could have done some changes in the funeral to make provision for my extended leave. So this is what he's thinking, and then he says that I got up and while I was shaving, I wondered what I was going to do and I decided to go for a swim. So, mother is dead. I just figured out how to get there 80 kilometers. I'll get take the 2 o'clock bus. I asked for leave. I went there. I smelled coffee and I saw the mountains and I did some small talk and I came back. Now I'm thinking, oh, 4 दिन, 2 दिन, मुझे swimming जाना है. Okay, this is what our character Marceau is thinking of right now.
We have no doubt about it sounds absurd.
Yeah, yeah, and this is also, I urge you to think about our concept of morality. This is why I love the book, because every time I found myself judging Marceau, I found myself judging my own self, that am I being judgmental about this person who is being brutally honest about what he feels, right? So uh, he goes for a swim with one of his friends called Murray, and then he talks about what it was like, right? So let's go into the next page. I was still in the water when she was already lying flat on her stomach. She turned towards me. Her hair was in her eyes. She was laughing, joking. I let my head fall back and rest on her stomach. So he's flirting with Murray, right? They're out for a swim the day after his mother is died, and he is flirting with a girl. And I had the whole sky in my eyes. It was blue and gold. So you can see some very factual things in his description, right? He talks about the smell of the earth, tangible things. And sometimes when morality, he's not confused by morality, right? That's what Camus is trying to tell us, that he's not confused by morality. For him, tactile, tangible things have more value. So he's all about experience. So if I am
Physical
sitting,
experiences.
yeah, exactly. So if I'm sitting here, I can feel how my palm feels against the table. I can feel how the iPad feels. Oh, iPad looks bright. The sun is shining. Whatever they are, the tactile things are more
I
important
want
to
to
him.
point one thing here. The reason why I think, I don't know, I've not read that. The reason why I think Camus is giving such details to tell us that this man was not, apathetic in general. He had feelings, he had emotions, he was noticing things, noticing very detailed things, which I think most of us otherwise miss. Okay, so he's very detailed in some ways. Okay, but he is not responding, reacting the way we think one should react to things like death. So that's where I think the confusion is, that this man is not actually a madman. He is not, or he is not a man whose senses don't work. Brilliant mind, observant. He's seeing things. He loves. He feels angry. Okay, but things like mother's death is absolutely reacting in some ways that's not acceptable to society in general. Okay, so ये सारा description उसी के बारे में है. Yeah, Dave. That's just my thought. Okay.
Yeah, and Hemant, loved your comment. Bro can't differentiate between reality and thoughts. In fact, you could also say that actually, bro experiences reality like something else, right? He is truly experienced reality as it really is. So, question is morality real or created by humans, right? Is it part of reality that somebody is dead and I must feel sad? If I'm not feeling sad, is that not real? These are the real questions Kemo is asking us. So, in a sense, you're saying he was not held by past. I would change it slightly. I would say he was not held by morals, or, how we should interpret the past. Right? He remembers the past, but his past is not a baggage of morality and responsibility and those things. Okay? Let's keep going. We have this is too much fun, okay, because there is plenty of things later on, and plenty of dark things you'll see. So okay, let's see what he does with Marie. When the sun got too hot, she dove off. I followed. She laughed. We are drying ourselves. She said, I'm darker than you. She laughed again, and then they watched a movie. Um, and then once we were dressed, she seemed very surprised to see I was wearing a black tie. She asked me if I was in mourning. I told her Maman had died. She wanted to know how long ago. So I said yesterday. Okay. She gave a little start but didn't say anything. Okay. So is this moral neutrality? Or is it like, is the man completely apathetic? You decide. And I think you also think about what Kemo is trying to convey about absurdism. Is it bad, good? These are the judgments of moral or morality applied on absurdism, but he's trying to make a point here. So let's keep going. My next highlight is in page, I think, 35. So it's again, something to do with another person, the key character called Raymond, right? So he's, Marceau is in his room with Marie, and they're having a good time. It was then that we heard that a sound of fight broke out with Raymond in Raymond's room. So obviously, the fight is between Raymond as and one of his girlfriends, and he says, Raymond is saying, you use me, I will teach you to use me. And there were some thuds. The woman screamed, and immediately the landing was filled with people. Marie and I went to see, but the woman was still shrieking and Raymond was still hitting her. So Raymond is hitting this woman and calling her names, and the woman is screaming. Marie said this was terrible, and I did not say anything. She asked me to go find a policeman, but I told her I didn't like cops. So again, the point Kemo is trying to make is the apathetic nature, or the nonchalant nature in which he is processing these things that are happening. Okay, so let's see what happens with Raymond.
Dave, your screen isn't moving. You're still in that. Mhm. when Mary's asking if her mama died, neither on the YouTube nor on my screen. Can you check?
Yeah, I just checked in my Zoom. I
Oh,
think,
now it has.
yeah, I think there's a little bit of a lag. So that's
Okay.
so.
Yeah.
Basically, what Raymond is saying is that okay, this is what happened. The cop came, but Raymond is trying to ask Marceau that he told me that I would have to act as a witness for him. It didn't matter to me, but I didn't know what I was supposed to say. So Raymond is saying, "You help me because cops have now are after me after that incident, and you will have to say something in favor of me and act as my witness." So according to Raymond, all I had to do was to state that the girl had cheated on him, and I agreed to act as witness for him. So he is not judging Raymond for are you morally right or wrong doing this as Mary had done. And Mary said this was a terrible thing, call the cops. He said, I'm not going to call the cops, I don't like cops. But he's saying also that he'll be a witness for Raymond. So complicity and responsibility is the question. So the takeaway for us is what happens to the sense of responsibility of a person who believes in absurdism or who believes that the world is absurd, has no meaning. Their sense of responsibility also is very different from the people that see purpose and morals and things like that, right? So you and I will obviously tell that this is an irresponsible, immoral person, and that is the lens of morality that is making us say that. Okay, let's keep reading. Um, so then he asked me if I wasn't interested in change of life. So he's talking to somebody that, I think it is probably Raymond. But let's see this conversation. This is very interesting. He says, if I wasn't interested in a change of life, I said that people never change their lives. That in any case, one life was as good as another, and that I wasn't dissatisfied with mine here at all. So he's talking to somebody and he's discussing his life, and he's like, okay, my life is just like anybody else's life. I'm not dissatisfied. So he looked upset and told me that I never gave him a straight answer, that I had no ambition. Okay?
Yeah.
Mark ambition, sense of purpose, and that I was disastrous in business. I would rather not have upset him, but I couldn't see any reason to change my life. So he is a person who thinks everything is absurd, without purpose. Why will they change? Right? They don't have any impetus to change or change anything for the better because they genuinely do not believe that there is something better at the other side. Um, so he says, when I was a student, I had lots of ambitions, but when I had to give up my studies, I learned very quickly that none of it really mattered. So basically, this is the core, he's getting to the core of absurdism here. Okay, so here's another very interesting paragraph which I always recall from this book. It says, Murray came by to see me and asked me if I wanted to marry her. I said it didn't make any difference to me and that we could if she wanted to. Okay, then she wanted to know if I loved her. I answered the same way I had last time and that it didn't mean anything, but that I probably did not love her. So why marry me then? She said. I explained to her that it didn't really matter and that if she wanted to, we could get married. Besides, she was the one who was doing the asking, and all I was saying was yes. Then she pointed out that marriage was a serious thing, right? I said no. She stopped talking for a minute and looked at me without saying anything. Then she spoke. She just wanted to know if I would have accepted the same proposal from another woman. So the girlfriend is asking, will you get married to me? He's like, okay, I don't care, we can. So she's upset. So she's saying, okay, if somebody else asks us, will you do the same thing? I said, sure. Okay. I said, sure. And then she said she wondered if she really loved me, and there was no way I could know about that. And then she mumbled that I was peculiar, and that was probably why she loved me. Okay, so Marie is trying to figure out the reason why she is attracted to him and still there with him, even though he feels so different to her. Okay. So she took my arms with a smile and she wanted to marry me. I said we could do it whenever she wanted. So that's the end of that. I think the marriage question with Marie. And once again, Camus is proving to us how absurdity changes your life and changes how you look at things.
The Hemant is seeing himself in Marsaw. He says, the reason why girls don't talk to me. So Hemant, yes, the girl asks you want to marry and you say, okay, it doesn't matter, you can, we cannot. So yes, they won't talk to you.
I think Hemant, I must say you are having too much fun. I would love to hear others too, and what you guys all think so far, right? And this is the point where the fun stops, and it kind of gets a little serious. So,
You're spooky actually.
it's spooky. So what has happened? I'll tell you a little bit of the story we missed in the middle. So one of Raymond's friends calls them over for a beachside, to their beachside resort, and all of them have gone there to have a good time. So Mersault, Murray, boyfriend, girlfriend, and Raymond is also there, and there's a bunch of other people and at a seaside house, and when they go out there on the beach, they find some Arabs, and Arabs, these Algerian people, right? And these Arabs are actually friends of Raymond's girlfriend, who Raymond's had hit in the previous highlight, right? We saw Raymond hitting a girl, and so the Arabs are somehow related to that girl, and they see these people at the beach, and there is an altercation, and that Raymond has a gun, and he has this is Mersault's reaction or his observation about Raymond's gun, and while this whole situation is unfolding. So he says the sun glinted of Raymond's gun as he handed it to me. So Raymond is giving the gun to Mersault, and he's going. But we just stood there motionless, as if everything had closed in around us. We stared at each other without blinking, and everything came to a stop between the sea, the sand, and the sun, and the double silence of the flute and the water. It was then that I realized that you could either shoot or not shoot. But all of a sudden, the Arabs backing away slipped behind the rock. So Camus is, giving us a teaser into what might happen if you give a weapon in the hands of somebody like Mersault. Okay, so Raymond gives him a gun, and he is very tactile, right? Mersault is very tactile. He feels the gun. He's like, okay, what do I do with it? I can shoot it, I can not shoot it, and the sun is blinding him. He is in a zone. He is getting into a zone. Let's see what happens after that. The sun was starting to burn my cheeks. I could feel drops of sweat gathering in my eyebrows. So Camus is starting to talk about the conditions that will create a specific moment in the story. Okay, so sun was the same as it had been the day I'd buried Mammon, and then like my forehead especially was hurting me, and all the veins in it throbbing under the skin. So he is obviously feeling something in his head, uh, which is directly coming from the heat, the sun, the Algerian, sun that is really at its height in the day. This is burning. It He couldn't stand it anymore, so he moves forward. And then let's see, but I took a step, one step forward. This time, without getting up, the Arab drew his knife and held it up to me in the sun. So the Arab is confronting him. He is holding up the knife, and they have a altercation. The light is shining off the steel and flashing blade cutting at my forehead. Same instant, the sweat in my eyebrows dripped down my eyelids. So graphic detail of what is going to happen, right? So see how graphic this person is, and he is feeling all those things, and the morality, the situation, what is his enemy, why he's fighting, all those things are gone. He is just focusing on the tactile. So eventually, the scorching blade slashed at my eyelashes and stabbed at my stinging eyes. That's when everything began to reel. The sea carried up a thick, fiery breath. I squeezed my hand around the revolver. The trigger gave. I felt the smooth underside of the butt. And there, in that noise, sharp and deafening at the same time, is where it all started. So he shoots the Arab. I shook off the sweat and the sun. I knew that I had shattered the harmony of the day. He knows that something big has happened, right? He has shot another human being. Then I fired four more times at the motionless body. So he fires four more shots at the motionless body, where the bullets lodged without leaving a trace. It was like knocking four quick times on the door of unhappiness. Okay, so let me pause here, Shabir.
Yeah.
This was a lot, right? This was a lot. So he is gone to the beach. Raymond gives him a gun. The Arab confronts him. The sun and the sweat and all of that, it's creating a condition, and he pulls the trigger, and then he pulls it four times. What does this tell you, Shabir? First, let me get your thoughts, and
I
then we'll
mean,
go to the story.
this is one passage, Dave, I have thought through a couple of times. Why this man shoots? There is no enmity, there is no anger as such. Even I don't think he's scared. Okay, there's my thinking is there's no emotion in terms of our regular emotions. He's just confused. He just overwhelmed by the heat, overwhelmed by the sun. Okay, again, it's not a mental thing, it's more of a physical thing. I mean, it all comes down to absurd. I mean, when I'm reading, I don't know why he shot. I'm sure even he doesn't know why he shot. And
Yeah, yeah.
to amplify it, he shoots four more times. Okay, again, I mean, nothing personal there.
Yeah.
So I think Camus is trying to emphasize that point. Some things happen without any reason. Some things happen because they happen. That's all. In a disordered, chaotic world, things happen. They happen. No point intellectualizing it. That's my quick thought. I'm still wondering what was happening. So yeah, Dave, your thoughts?
Yeah, and I struggled there too. Why four times, right? He shoots the lifeless body four more times, and I felt that sometimes we do these things by instinct, and when we are talking about instinct or impulse, somehow there is no question of morals or reasoning or logic, anything. All that goes out the door, right?
Yeah, no
When you're
logic,
talking
no
about,
reasoning. That's the right
yeah,
word. Yes.
instinctive or impulsive action. So I think it's an impulsive action, but if you look at it from a morality standpoint, how will you feel about a person who shoots another person and then shoots four more times after the person is dead? The judgment is very clear, right? We say that this is a merciless or a mercenary or who's devoid of all feelings and a brutal killer. We'll have the choicest words for that kind of a person.
And
And
the worst is when we link things.
yeah,
Okay, from the first page, Maman died.
yes,
Okay, he's wondering about time. You link it with completely emotionless attachment or whatever with his girlfriend, uh, willing to be witness to an act of violence. जब सब link करोगे, this man looks like a psychopath.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's keep going. So now we are in part two. Part two is where the trial starts, right? So he's obviously is captured, and he's taken, and the trial starts. And in the trial, the magistrate seemed to have lost interest in me, he says, and to have come to some sort of decision about my case. So of course the initial reaction is, people talk to him about God, about morals, why did you do this, why didn't you think of God. So he says after some time he didn't talk to me about God anymore, and I never saw him as worked up as he was the first day. So people are really worked up with this kind of a psychopath, right? I mean, anybody would. We would like, oh, what kind of a person is this? Let me drum some sense into their head. But people quickly saw that he was not the same, he was not cast in the same mold as them. And he saw that he reflects that the result was that our discussion becomes more cordial. A few questions, brief conversations with my lawyer, examinations were over. And he says that when the conversations was of a more general nature, I would be included. That's what his lawyer says. And everything was so natural, so well handled, and so calmly acted out that I had the ridiculous impression of being one in the family. Who would feel so good right after being captured? Okay.
One in the family.
And I can say that at the end of 11 months, that is the investigation lasted, I was almost surprised that I had ever enjoyed anything other than those rare moments when the judge would lead me to the door of his office, slap me on the shoulder, and say to me cordially, "That's all for today, Mosher Antichrist." I would then be handed back over to the police. So, this moment is a very interesting, amusing moment for him, and he is enjoying the investigation. Okay,
It's like
so
it's like the judge has made up his mind. Calling me Antichrist. Okay, he's made up mind. He's an immoral guy. So the whole farce of trial probably has no meaning now.
yeah,
That's the thought of why would Camus write this phrase, Monsieur Antichrist?
exactly, exactly. So let's keep going. I think the next phase comes in his life as a prisoner. So he's basically enjoying that life too. So he's looking at the different things in the prison. He is looking at his lawyer. He is thinking of Marie. He is basically enjoying his time in the prison, and then again worrying about all these tactile things that are here and now. We say, right, live in the moment and be here and now. He is exactly in the here and now, experiencing reality. So then he says, one day when the guards told me that I had been here for 5 months. I believed it, but I didn't understand it. For me, it was one and the same unending day that was unfolding in my cell, and the same thing I was trying to do. That day, after the guard had left, I looked at myself in my tin plate, and my reflection seemed to remain serious even though I was trying to smile at it. So basically, nothing changes for him. No conditions change because, again, back to Camus' thought process, that reasoning, morality, thought process, these are the lenses we apply to figure out why certain things are happening, and we feel good or bad about those things. So he doesn't do that, and that's why he's okay, right? So let's keep going. I think this is an interesting piece, and there is a lot of text here that Camus spends a lot of time actually explaining this condition within the cell, and how a person who uh, doesn't really understand morals can actually have a good time even in a prison cell.
Well, yes. Yes.
So now the trial, after the investigation comes the trial, and here is what exactly what Shabir you were saying happens. That all of those things, right, starting from his mother's death and how he behaved at the funeral, to Murray, where Murray says that okay, this guy also was he was out with me a day after his mother died, and he said, marrying you is okay, no problem, this way or that. Then Raymond and the witness, and what he did, and then the killing and the shooting 4 times, all of that, people come and provide witness against him. So the prosecutor is saying he reminded the court of my insensitivity, of my ignorance when asked Maman's age. He didn't know his mother's age. Of my swim the next day with a woman, of the Fernandel movie, and finally taking Murray. So this is sort of all of those things that one after the other comes out in the trial. So business with Raymond. Raymond gives him a gun. How he fired 4 more shots, calmly, point blank, thoughtfully, as it were. So the prosecutor goes on saying that this is no ordinary murder. In this case, Shabir, I thought the prosecutor was sort of the voice of society, right? The prosecutor acted as society's voice of how morally we judge a person like this.
Yeah.
So he says, ordinary murder, no thoughtless act for which you might find mitigating circumstances. This man is intelligent, he knows how to answer, he knows the value of words, and no one can say that he acted without realizing. So he's like, this person is intelligent, he's figuring out everything, he understands everything. So I don't know why he did not understand what he was doing. So he was in full cognition. So has he so much expressed any remorse? Is there any remorse in this person after after committing the murder? So one of the things that Camus actually questions about justice in this novel is, a lot of times people are forgiven if they feel remorse, injustice.
Yeah.
But he questions that if somebody feels remorse or not, isn't that connected with some sense of morality? So we value morality, justice is about morality, is what he's trying to say. That in that case, justice is flawed because it does not see the reasons and the actual reality, but it tries to conform a person to society's view of how they should function. Very debatable topic, and this is where it kind of gets really interesting, right? So he says, I was surprised by how relentless he was. The prosecutor is relentless. I would have liked to have tried explaining to him cordially, almost affectionately, that I had never been able to truly feel remorse for anything. And my mind was always on what was coming next, today or tomorrow. And I think, which he genuinely feels, that the sun, the sweat, something happened. I pulled the trigger. I pulled the trigger 4 times. I don't know why I did it. And that is the truth for him, right? And if we look at it objectively, that also may have been the real truth, right? An instinctive action may have been the real truth, but he has been judged for it. So, Shabir, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was just thinking of honesty there.
Yeah,
Okay. Is honesty really about being honest, or is honesty more about hearing what you want to hear? This
yeah,
man is actually honest. He's telling what he feels, what he thinks. But I think that's going against him. His honesty is his problem. His
absolutely.
authenticity is his crime. Yeah.
So, two more things and then we'll close, right? So, what happens in the trial? So, I didn't have the time to, because presiding judge told me in a bizarre language, which is actually legal language, that I was to have my head cut off in a public square in the name of French people. Okay, so this is the closure of the trial, that he is sentenced to death. Now he is waiting for his execution, and there is plenty of text that Camus writes about how he actually processes that information. What is it? How is it that he reacts to it? So I'll fast forward to the last paragraph in the book, okay, and which summarizes sort of the meaning of this entire journey for him, okay. So a chaplain, a priest, comes to meet him. That's the last thing that happens when somebody is sentenced to death. A chaplain comes and talks to them about God, about last wishes, and about repentance, remorse, things like that. So he fights with the chaplain and actually throws him out of the cell, and then says that with him gone, I was able to calm down again. I was exhausted and threw myself on my bunk. I must have fallen asleep because I woke up with the stars in my face. Sounds of the countryside were drifting in. He's still thinking about what the actual tactile things that are happening around him. Smells of night earth, salt air were cooling my temples. The wondrous peace of that sleeping summer flowed through me like a tide. Then, in the dark hour before dawn, sirens blasted. They were announcing departures for a world that now and forever meant nothing to me. For the first time in a long time, I thought about Maman. I felt as if I understood why, at the end of her life, she had taken a fiance. Mother had taken a fiance towards the end of her life, and he says that she had played at beginning again. Even there, in that home where lives were fading out, evening was a kind of wistful respite. So close to death, Maman must have felt free and then ready to live again. So this is how he's feeling. Nobody had the right to cry over her, and I felt ready to live it all again too. So he's like, okay, I'm about to die for something I still don't understand why it has happened, and why people think of me like that. I don't feel remorse, and I feel that this is a perfect time to enjoy and live again. So he says the blind rage had washed me clean, the rage that he felt with the chaplain. And that night, alive with signs and stars, I opened myself to the gentle indifference of the world. The world doesn't care what happens to you. So world is indifferent. And finding it so much like myself. The world is like myself. The world actually does not care. And like a brother, really, I felt I had been happy and that I was happy again. So he says, I feel happy and I'm happy again, that I'm here now and I'm experiencing the world, I'm experiencing reality, and everything to be consummated for me to feel less alone. I only wish that there be a large crowd of spectators the day of my execution and they greet me with cries of hate. So basically, he is saying, let the world go to dogs. I don't care because the world doesn't care about me. I'm happy, I'm okay, and I feel alive, and I will enjoy what I have, which is the sun, the stars, the tactile feelings that I have. So this is sort of the last piece, and Shabbir just left us because he had another urgent thing to attend to. But let's close here, and I'll take your questions. This is the end of the story. This is the end of how a person who does not conform to the morals of the society, who feels that life and society and the world we live in actually does not matter, there is no purpose, there is no meaning in life. So he is creating his own meaning in a lot of ways in the midst of this absurdity, right? His meaning is that of tactile things. His meaning is that of things that he feels, he sees, he experiences with his senses, right? So I think this sort of is a somber end, right? A somber end to what we witnessed across the story from start to finish. And but this gives us a brief idea of what absurdism is, of what existentialism means, what it makes somebody feel about the world. So if we go back to our summaries, I talked about absurdism, about alienation, societal judgment, freedom and responsibility, death and meaning. So that's the 5 things that I took away from this. I'll see if you all have any thoughts, any questions. Rakesh, what did you feel hearing this? And people on the YouTube, Kaushik, you're saying, so the gun killings we see might have similar happening. They have access to guns and felt like pulling the trigger randomly and whoever comes across the path. Yeah, it is possible. It is possible. And this is sort of a confirmation that not everything is, or not every action that we judge may be based on our view of what morality is and what the world means, right? Somebody who pulls the trigger might be doing it for a very different reason, or morality not always might be one of the guiding factors in behavior of a person. Hemant, you're saying it clearly shows that a society every time wants an exaggerated expression which can affect others in some ways. If individuals don't do that and put that expression themselves, it's seen as abnormal. That's exactly the summary of what absurdism is, and what this whole book is all about. So I think well said. Okay, questions, thoughts, observations. Tell me how you all felt. What does it leaves you with a bitter thing at the end? It leaves you with some sense of sadness, and it leaves you with some sense of sorrow, right? That of what happened to your character. But some of us might also feel that, oh, he had it coming, right, with whatever he was doing. So um, we can feel either way, but the fundamental dichotomy that Camus is trying to tell us about is that there is another thought process, there is another lens that you have to view the world, right? And when you view the world from that lens, um, you see a very different picture of the whole thing. So yes, Hemant, society is unpredictable, and Kaushik, yes, convicts, we expect remorse, and we don't see any remorse in a lot of convicts. So the point is this, right? Is morality, where does morality stop, and where does um, you know something, a person like Marceau, what can we do to accept them as creatures of the universe, right? And in what lens should we see them? And that's what the whole novel tries to teach us. So that, my friends, was what we had today. I know lot of you will have a lot of questions. I welcome them all. Some of those we try to answer, but absolutely try to put them in Telegram, and I would love to kind of both see them and try to answer them to the best of my ability. Absolutely, read Camo. There is no alternative to not reading it. Camo is a wonderful writer and a great storyteller, and of course, the books are all about absurdism and existentialism. But I think you can get tons of content out of it to use in your essays. All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll close today, but I really appreciate you all joining. I love our Thursday sessions, and I absolutely love your company and what we do here. And that is what keeps us going, right? That's what keeps me and Shabir continuing to try and push good content and good interactions back to you, because essays are not something you can do in a day, in 4 weeks. You have to have this continuous engagement. You need to really do this on a daily basis to improve. So thank you so much. All right, I will say adios, and we'll see you next Thursday.